Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Fuel for Success. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be with us this morning. Thursday is one of our favorite topics of the day, our topic of business and entrepreneurship. This is where we deal with topics such as startup companies, business, just good advice about sales and marketing and what have you. And I'm very sad. I have some good news and bad news. Bad news is our great Mike Hopkins is traveling this morning on his way to Philly and is unable to get a connection to where he's at to be able to be on the show with us because of travel. And anyways, looking forward to seeing you, Mike. I think he's watching on the road right now, or I see Carol's on there. But always miss Mike when he's not here. And looking forward to seeing them tonight in Philly. We got our first, not our first, but we have Mission 25 tonight in Philadelphia. It's going to be awesome. Looking forward to seeing what God does. Mission 25 is it embodies the spirit of entrepreneurship. It's a startup missions movement. We launched it this year. First one was in Tampa, Florida, and it has been a thrill. It's been exciting. We've had a good time, and it's just been fun. What's amazing is how much fun we've already had and the impact we've already made, and to think that we still have 8 more missions trips this year. Yeah, I know, Mike. It's tough, isn't it, bro? So good morning to everybody. Our friend Nate is supposed to be on with us this morning for another part 2 of his interview. So I'll wait a few minutes until he's able to get on. In the meantime, I just wanted to open up the show this morning talking to you about some basic principles of entrepreneurship. Here's the good news out there. This show specifically is for those that want to be into business, right? And here's the good news. Anybody can succeed in business. Anybody. Like literally anybody. But the only reason why some people succeed and some people do not succeed is because in life, there are principles. I want you to understand this. In fact, I'll give you an example. One of my favorite books is actually called Success Principles, okay? It's actually written by Jack Canfield, and he did like a 20-year study of success. He's been around all the highly successful people of the world, and he actually boiled it down to 66 principles, okay? 66 principles that he felt like if any human being would just do these principles, they would be successful. And I wholeheartedly believe that. I honestly believe the difference between the successful and the unsuccessful is that the successful do the things that the unsuccessful don't do. There are habits, there are behaviors, there are thought patterns, and there are actions. And so that's why I say anybody out there can become successful if you are willing to follow the principles of success. So I'm going to actually, you know what? I just got it right here. Let me show you. I've actually had my son read this book here. Everybody that I've ever really coached to a higher level, I've had them read this book. In fact, if someone was to ask me right now the top 3 books that I've ever read, and I've read a lot of books. In fact, I was telling someone last night, I've actually read every single book that has the word millionaire in the title. Like, for example, there's a new book out. I don't know how new it is, but I've been reading it lately. It's called The Automatic Millionaire. And the reason why I read this book, it actually was inspired by a teaching that I heard by Brian Tracy, which, listen, Brian Tracy is somebody that you can watch on YouTube for free. You can listen to some of his stuff on iTunes, and any book that you can read by Brian Tracy is going to help you become a better business person. He's just a real practical, easy to read author. Anyways, he has this teaching called the 21 Secrets of Self-Made Millionaires. I promise you, I've listened to that teaching probably over 20, 25 times, maybe even more. I so believe that we need to immerse ourselves in growth. We need our number one focus as an entrepreneur, and you heard this from Nate last week, and you heard it from Joe, and you've heard it from Mike and some of the other guests that we've had on here. For example, when we had Sunshine on here, think of one of the habits that she had was that she listened to Tony Robbins all the time. You know, she was always listening to self-help material. Like in my car, you can ask my son, anytime I'm in my car, if I'm not on the phone, I'm listening to Success Magazine CD. I have every single one of them, and I wear them out, listen to them over and over and over again. Anyways, when Brian Tracy taught on the 21 Secrets of Self-Made Millionaire, one of the things that he said was that the average millionaire reads one book a week, okay? So I've read a lot of books, my friends. I'm a believer in reading. I believe what you become 5 years from now will be determined by what you read and who you associate with. Hear me? What you read and who you associate with is literally going to tell me where you'll be 5 years from now. So if you want to know, like if you literally want to predict your own future, take a look at the 5 closest people to you, okay? Right now, I want you to do this practice today, okay? I want you to stop and I want you to think of the 5 closest people to you. Who are the 5 closest people to you? Write their names down. You're going to be the average of those 5 people. That's why it is so important that you associate with people that are driven, that you associate with people that are healthy, that you associate with people that are spiritual, that you associate with people that have passion. There you go, Sherry, that's good. You associate with people, no, you're on Fuel for Success almost every day, so this is one of your associations right here, so that's good, Sherry. You're marching in the right direction. Another thing, my friends, is, thank you, Serge. I consider that a compliment, and you know what? I like associating with you, actually. In fact, when I come to Canada, you're one of the number one people that I like to hang out with because I love to pick your brain. You're really into health. You're really into finance. So I like hanging out with people like Serge. Anyways, listen. You need to determine what you want to become in life and then find those type of people and get around them. Hear me? And I'm going to just caution you. This is why everyone needs to have a passion for personal growth, especially in a marriage, especially in a business partnership. There is such a thing that you outgrow your companions. Now, I'm not talking about your spouse, but that does happen. That's something I want to talk about. But there is such a thing that you outgrow the people that you associate with. And this is the number one challenge, because the day that you outgrow them, it's going to be tough for you to maintain that connection and relationship because you're moving forward and they're staying still. They love the you that they like and that they are comfortable with. I don't know, I've not had too many people when I'm ready to go to the next level. When I go quick. I mean, I go quick because I'm tenacious about growing, and I'm tenacious about my health, and I'm tenacious about being a great dad and a great family person and a spiritual man and a person that's driven in business and success and in missions work. So it's happened to me as I've journeyed through this path of success, my friends. I've lost some friends, not because they didn't like me or not because I didn't like them, but it just kind of evolved where we just became distant because I outgrew them. They didn't grow. They didn't want to grow. They were content with average. So we had less and less in common. When we would get together and talk, it just like our conversations went flat. And I'm a conversationalist. But I want to talk about like, hey, what are you reading, man? Tell me something you've learned lately. Tell me a new exercise you've learned, or maybe a new health thing, or whatever. Or share something with me that God's been doing in your life, or I might pitch a missions idea, or Like think about, I've been thinking about starting to juice every day for the homeless, and I'll like go off on it. Like, right, I'll be like, yeah, I'm getting real serious about it. Like thinking about actually juicing, like jugs of juice in the morning and taking it down to the homeless and giving them fresh juice. I'm just like always talking about ideas and vision. When you get around friends that are flat, that don't think big, you get around friends that, they're average in their thinking, pretty soon what's evolving is that you've outgrown them, okay? So the whole reason I said that is because Brian Tracy said one of the secrets of self-made millionaires, and this is what made me think of this, is that they read on average one book a week. Hear me? A week. Listen, if you are watching this Spreecast and you are average and you are broke and you failed in business, maybe you're in a dead-end job, hear me? Maybe you're overweight. My best advice for you, my friend, is to immediately start reading good books. Hear me? Start reading self-help books. Immediately start reading. Listen, every one of these books that I have on these shelves right here are unbelievable books. I just literally last week bought 3 new books on my iPad. I'm always reading. You have to have that frame of mind as an entrepreneur. Second thing is that I wanted to dive into is who you associate with. But now let me go back to this. So in this book right here, The Success Principles, I literally try to read one success principle a day. Literally, that's my habit. So I've gone through this book so many times because he gives 66, so I can go through this book every 2 months by reading one success principle a day. I love what Karen shared here, and I appreciate that. An oldie but goodie, and it's so true. I love Zig Ziglar. You know what's funny, Karen? I just recently, and I grew up listening to Zig Ziglar. I mean, my whole high school days and college days, like I listened to Zig. Like if you walk by my dorm room in Bible college, all you would hear was Zig Ziglar. My friends thought I was crazy. But I just recently pulled those Zig back out. I got to missing him because he's gone now. He was an unbelievable, very highly driven, high quality life person. And remember, you can find mentors that you don't even know. Yeah, you want to get around as many upbeat, positive people as you can. But you can actually get mentored through people, through iTunes, through YouTube, through Google, through articles, through books. And I want you to have that passion, okay? So watch this, my friends. This book, The Success Principles, right here. He gives 66 principles. The first set of principles, there's 24 of them, are about the fundamentals of success, okay? The next 13 principles are called Transform Yourself for Success. They're about working on you. The next set of principles are about building your success team. It's one of my favorite parts because he deals with, building your inner support cast. Because listen, you need people in your life. I'm trying to feel what Carol's saying there. I think she's complimenting me, saying I was crazy. But if I know Carol. Anyways, so the thing of it is you build your team, right? People ask me all the time how I do what I do. I'm going to shoot you straight. People ask me every single day, how do you do what you do? You know what my number one answer is besides God? Literally, God's my number one answer. You know what my number two answer? I am surrounded by the most gifted, unbelievable, executing, hardworking, loyal, just flat out amazing people. And literally, that's been the secret of my success. All that I am and all that I have, I attribute to God and to the people that I have associated myself with and the personal growth journey, okay? Next thing he talks about in Success Principles is he gives about 8 success principles about creating successful relationships. Listen, who you date matters. If you're going into business, who you marry matters. Like, if you're going to just work a job, right? Fine. But if you're going for a highly successful business, I'll give you an example. Watch this. Here's a book I'm reading right now, okay? Like I'm reading it like crazy. It's called The 50 Best Businesses. From Apple to Walmart and what you can learn from the world's best businesses. This book is eating my brains alive. Because the whole thing I keep saying is, okay, I want to be in the top 50. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, I'm sitting there reading this at night with the candle burning, and I'm literally just thinking, okay, I'm going to learn everything I can from every one of these businesses, because every one of these businesses, when they tell their stories, they're leaving principles. You hear me? Principles. That's what I started off talking about in this show, is you have got to pursue principles. That's why I started talking about this book. It's called Success Principles. Same thing, anything you want to do in life, find the principles, because it's not about the people. Hear me? I've seen the most normal, average, everyday Joe become highly successful because they followed the right principles. All right, let's hear this. I want to make sure, because my buddy Mike's not here. Let me pay attention in case I'm getting any questions over here. Let me slow it down because I can just kind of get off. Sherry, let me tell you where to get this. I got this at Barnes & Noble's. It's actually in the magazine section. If they don't have it at Barnes & Noble's, you can get it off Amazon. It's extremely inspiring. The 50 best businesses. You know, for example, I mean, you know, who would y'all guess would be number one? I can tell you who they said number one was. Well, they're really not in any order, actually. But, you know, you got Apple in here, and there's an incredible article in here about Google. I mean, Google, what a successful startup company that actually was laughed at when they first pitched their idea to Yahoo. Think about that. But they're kicking themselves. So listen to this. Yeah, Walmart, even though they're kind of struggling now, but Target's kind of on their trail there, my friends. Anyways, let me just see what. Oh, thank you, Seth. Good job, man. Talking about this $10.99 at Amazon. Be the best $10.99 you've spent in a long time. Remember this, guys. Spend your money on books. I don't know if I told this story on Fuel for Success or not, but I love that, Carol. You know, Mike and I literally every day, and that's what entrepreneurs do, they solve problems. So like nearly every day we'll call each other and we'll say, hey bro, what do you think about this? Like that's the kind of people you've got to have in your life. People that are always thinking, people that are always brainstorming, people that are always hashing it out, always, because listen, that's how you get $1 million idea. You solve a problem, you come up with something that everybody can't live without, and I promise you, you're going to get there. Oh, you're talking about the Jack Canfield book, Seth. Okay, good. Look, if you can get Success Principles for $10.99, buy it now. I want everyone reading that book. Let's all read it together, okay? I'm going to read it again myself. So listen to this. I'm going to go back to what Britton said, then I'm going to go down. She said, oh, let me tell you this story real quick, then I'll get to Britton's comment here. When I was in Bible college, I literally took all my spare money and I bought books. I have more books than any student in the entire college. Like everybody came to my dorm room to, if they wanted to read a book, and I since have stopped like loaning out my books because they became like my tools. I literally started looking at people and say, look, go buy your own book. You want to borrow it, stay right here in my room and read it. Like, you know, because these are my books, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I get inspired, I want to read a book. I don't want to, like, have to worry about where it was, and then people stopped returning them and all this, that, and the other. So you know how it is, my friend. I'll give you any, in fact, I tell people, look, I'll buy you this book, okay? But I'm not giving you mine. So anyway, listen to this. So some buddies of mine were getting ready to go out to eat, and I literally was down to my last $20. Sherry asked him, I'm emotionally attached to my books, maybe only because these books right here have brought me to where I am today, and they're taking me where I'm going. You know what I mean? So maybe a little. Anyway, so some of my buddies came by my room, and I was literally about to go to the bookstore and buy a book. I had my eye on a book. I had $20 set aside for it, and it was a John Maxwell book. I'll never forget it. It was called Developing the Leader Within You. Probably one of the most defining books that changed my life as a young man. You know, I'm like 20 years old. I'm in college, you know, and my buddies come by and they're like, man, let's go get some eat. You know, let's go eat, man. We're about to go eat and hang out. And I'm like, I'm gonna pass tonight, guys. I'm getting ready to go pick up a book. They were like, a book? You're in college, man. What are you reading for? We do plenty of reading. It's like, yeah, but there's this John Maxwell book I really want to buy. They were like, man, you're crazy, Maddox. They were like, dude, just come meet with us, man. You can buy books later in life. I said, guys, listen, in life, you're given two choices. You can either become a Big Mac or you can be a leader. As for me, I'm going to be a leader. Enjoy your Big Mac, guys. And I went and bought that book, and while all my buddies were out hanging out, I was sitting down in my dorm room highlighting chapter by chapter. I read that entire book that night. It single-handedly changed my life. That one book, Developing the Leader Within You. Everybody needs to read that book. Yeah, I know, Carol. It was a good bit back there, lady. Man, I miss having Mike on the show today. Mike, if you're watching, we miss you, Rev. Britton said I'm going to be straight. I never considered starting my own business, but since I've started watching the show, I've started thinking, that's the first step, there's no reason once I finish my degree that I can't own a successful holistic health clinic. And there you go, Britton. Listen to me loud and clear. This is where it begins. I want all of you to know, here's what happens. You get these thoughts and you're like, well, just maybe I can open my own holistic health clinic. And then there comes our old patterns of thinking, self-limiting beliefs, friends and family that when you tell them, you got to be careful who you tell your dream to. And I agree, Seth. Stephen Covey is really good, one of my favorites. But I would say to you, Britton, get a clear vision and write a plan and literally go for it. Literally go for it. And I watch God back you up. God always backs up people that have vision. And if you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to live with the whatever it takes mentality, then anybody can reach their dream. Anybody. I've seen way too many people beat the odds. I've seen way too many people overcome adversity. I've seen way too many people overcome setbacks and make it. Just make it. You know, anyway, I'll tell you that story later. So I like what, how can we cover how to write a plan on here maybe next week? Yeah. I think Mike and I can break down on how to write a plan, but I'll say this, right? Actually, I woke up thinking about this. I really did. I woke up thinking about all that needs to be done with Mission 25, right? I'm going to be honest. Like, I woke up thinking of all the next level things that need to happen and all just details of like, wow, there's still so much to be done to make this, a wow experience for people and to really take it to the next level. And I literally started laughing. And I laughed at something that Mike and I have said so many times. Mike and I will get an idea, and if we feel like it's a go, I'm going to be honest, rarely do we give it a second thought. We just start pulling the trigger. I'm not even joking. Most of the stuff that Mike and I are working on, I'm being real with you, I believe in a plan. I really do. Most of the time, we just started. We just literally just started. And there's two different mentalities about that. I know people that they plan so thoroughly. I mean, their plan is just like, it's as thorough as you could imagine. And I respect those kind of people because I do believe in planning. And I do believe there's value in having a good business plan. But on the flip side of that, I don't want you to get all like locked up as an entrepreneur if, that's right, 3 a.m. ideas. Listen, I don't want you to get locked up I don't want you to get locked up in thinking that you can't have a successful startup company because you don't have this amazing business plan. Some of the most successful businesses out there, their business plan started on a napkin in a restaurant with a buddy of theirs. No joke. So yeah, but Mike and I'll cover some basics. We will. There you go. That's good, Al. Very good point. Planning can cause too much overthinking, and you're exactly right. When you overthink things and overanalyze it, it's like 20 years from now, you're still, I just got to make sure it's all perfect, and you're like, my Lord. But Carol asked a good question. In your opinion, what is someone's biggest stumbling block in starting a business? Listen, the number one is fear of failure. Like, for every successful business, there's probably 10,000 that have never been brought to this world because of the people that could have done it but didn't do it for one reason. They were afraid of failure. Listen, Mike and I consistently ask ourselves, dude, we're either gonna like fall off the tallest building and be the two most embarrassed human beings on the planet, or when this is all said and done, we're gonna look like geniuses. It's literally either way, my friends. So when you have fear of failure, that is the biggest stumbling block in starting a business, is a person's thinking. That would be my take on that, Carol. And if Mike was here right now, I'd say, what about you, Mike? What's your take? What do you feel like is the biggest stumbling block in business here, my friend? Okay, so my biggest deal is making sure it's of God, and that's good. That's good, Sherry. Um, yeah, absolutely. Anything you do, you want to just make sure you have God's blessing and God's favor on it. But at the same time, my friends, I would say that every one of you, even if you don't, let's say you're not going to build this big thriving business. Every one of you should be selling stuff on eBay. Every one of you should be thinking of 2 to 3 to 4 actually streams of income. So even if you have a 9 to 5 job and it's a good job, right? I want you to still think of I thoroughly plan on my son having many little startup businesses as a young kid. Like I want him sweating and going door to door and mowing grass just for the experience. I want him seeing how much money he can make washing cars. You know what I mean? So every one of you should be thinking in your mind of ways to make more money. And Sherry made a good point right here. She said it takes real dedication. My husband has been self-employed going on 11 years, many lows and many highs. And you're so right. I'd love to interview your husband, actually. And you're right, many lows, many highs, and that's just part of it. It really is. The ups and downs of being in business for yourself, the sacrifices, the long hours, because when you're in business, it's all about producing results, and there's no excuses. It's like you got to get it done. You can't put it off on anybody else. Like case in point, I can give you a couple examples of what I've seen. Yeah, I know, Sherry. We need sleep. I agree. Good 4 hours is good. Good 4 hours. You can get a lot done in 20 hours a day. I'm just kidding. Actually, I do believe in sleep. As much as I joke about it, I really do believe in sleep, and I know Mike does as well. That's good, Britton. See, you're cut out of it then. You grew up around business. I think if you grew up around business, I think you have a better chance of succeeding. Again, that's not to say that if you didn't grow up around business, you don't have a chance. But I think people that grow up and they get the sacrifice, they get the hustle, they get the sweat, they understand that, it's not all yachts and country clubs and, days off, sleep until noon, cruises and vacations and all that. I get it. Like most kids that grow up in business, they get business. They seen what their parents went through. So do you have any other questions? I know I've just been kind of sharing today. Nate was supposed to be on with us today, but something must have happened. But that's okay. We don't get upset about that kind of stuff at Fuel for Success. We believe in the flow. So I'm sure we'll get him back next Thursday. He's heard of that word, sleep. Yeah, somewhere I've heard of sleep. I forgot what it's like to do that, but hey. Anyways, guys, Fuel for Success, success principles today, and the 50 best businesses. These are the types of books you need to be reading. If you're in business, you need to be reading books by successful business people, people that have succeeded. Like, who would not take the time to read Steve Jobs' biography? The guy built one of the biggest, most powerful brands in the world. Who would not read Everything You Can Get Your Hands On by Walt Disney? You know what I mean? So not only study, like, for example, this is no joke. My son literally watches about 2 hours of biographies a day, and that's no joke. Like, he goes through YouTube and finds every successful athlete, baseball player, and watches their biographies. So these are other things you can do. Study successful business people, not only books, but study CEOs and business owners that were successful. So anyways, guys, I love you. I'm on my way to Philly today. I can't wait to see Mike and Carol. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of our team and all of our volunteers. We're going to be meeting some new people, and I'm excited about that. Seth, I'm proud of you. I love your hustle as a young man. I love it. I have a lot of respect for you, and I think the world of you. And keep it up, son. You're gonna go places. Keep that drive, man. Drive is the key. Hunger. Never lose the hunger. If you make 20,000, want to make 40,000. You know what I mean? Just have that driving hunger to keep pursuing your goals and your dreams. Other than that, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Mike and I'll be together live for our family and relationship show tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thank you to everyone that tuned in and watched today. Don't forget, you can watch on iTunes and YouTube, and you can also go to fuelforsuccess.tv and watch any previous episode. God bless y'all, my friends.